Who is he doing the show with today, you ask?
This world is such a, and when I say this world, I mean it. I don't mean in an ideal sense. I mean in every day, every little thing you do. It's such a, gimme. Everybody back off. You know, everybody's like, you taught that from school, everywhere. Big business. If you want to be successful, you want to be like Trump, gimme. Push. Step. Crush.
Why don't you just listen, fucker? It's 10 times easier.
Because look at me, I don't have that mega money, but I feel guilty walking by somebody. I got to give them some mail. And if I know I got $3,000 in my pocket, I feel like it's wrong to give that person a quarter or $1. It's wrong. Only you know what you got in your pocket. And that's wrong. No matter what they do, if they take it and drink it, they take it and drink it. Look, okay, I know you're rich. I know you got $40 billion, but can you just keep it to one house? You only need one house. And if you only got 2 kids, can you just keep it to 2 rooms? I mean, why have 52 rooms and you know there's somebody with no room? It just don't make sense to me. And I think there's a way to pay these people. I think there is a way. It just takes to be revolutionary. And it takes to do something out of the ordinary. I mean, can you imagine somebody having $32 million? $32 million. And this person has nothing? And you can sleep? You can still go to the movies about, I mean, and then these are the type of people that get humanitarian awards. Millionaires. How can they be humanitarians? By the fact that they millionaires and there's so many poor people shows how unhumane they are.
It's time for Anthony Does a Podcast.
Okay, so here's where I want to start. I don't even want to do a fucking intro to this shit. I just want to get going. Because, and I'll start off by saying this, I'm incredibly nervous for today. I'm incredibly nervous for what we're about to talk about because I understand that I'm a 27-year-old white guy and I'm about to speak on, you know, a black man in America's lyrics, and it's tough because I understand the undertaking that I'm about to do, and some of you might just be like, fuck it, you know, oh, who cares? But this to me is one of the coolest fucking things I think I've ever thought up and I've ever discovered. And I just want to be able to do it justice. And I brought Desiree in because, hello, wait to the camera. I brought you in because, and it's a funny story. This started at 2:30 at night. I want to say like 3 weeks ago.
Yes. You woke me up in the middle of the night to tell me this.
Because all of this started because I couldn't sleep. I've been having trouble sleeping lately. And for whatever reason, my mind drifted off and started just, I don't know, like singing a song. And you know how you do in your head, like, you know, you're just trying to make yourself fall asleep. And for whatever reason, it was Poetic Justice by Kendrick Lamar and Drake that popped into my fucking head. And I start, you know, humming it along, and, you know, I'm doing Kendrick's verse, then I do Drake's verse, because for whatever reason, I just remember lyrics after, like, the second time I hear a song.
Yeah, you're kind of like a savant with, like, you know, I don't think I've ever found a song you don't know the lyrics to.
Yeah, it's pretty rare.
Yeah.
Like, I can hear a song twice and know, like, the melody, you know, the harmonies, and just kind of know where they're going with the lyrics. So for whatever reason, I'm up and Poetic Justice just pops in my mind. And I get to Drake's part and I start, you know, going along with what he's saying. And then for whatever fucking reason, I'm thinking to myself, this motherfucker did not write any of this verse.
Yeah.
And I start listening and going back and playing it again. Like, hold up, you know, rewind that. Like, let's play it from here. And I wake you up. And I tell you, I think I've uncovered the biggest diss in hip hop history.
Yeah.
Because no one understands. So, like, if you're just new to hip hop or you're a heavy metal person or whatever the fuck it is, Kendrick Lamar and Drake have been taking subtle digs at each other since, I don't know, like 2013, 2014.
Yeah, if you look it up online, they cited us starting with Control.
Yes.
And but Poetic Justice precedes that.
Yes, Poetic Justice was first. It was off Kendrick's album, Good Kid, Mad City, and we'll get into all that in a second. But I think it's important to start at the beginning and explain the thought process of Kendrick Lamar got Drake to diss himself on Poetic Justice. And for whatever fucking reason, hip-hop just ignored this for the last 8 years.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Until now.
It's like cracking the Da Vinci Code because we're just sitting here like, oh my God. And the more we look into Drake and Kendrick and their songs and just Poetic Justice in general, the more we broke it down, the more we were like,
line by fucking line.
This is the greatest diss
ever
in hip hop history.
It beats anything Eminem did with Ray Benzino. It beats the 50 and Ja Rule beef. It beats Kanye and 50 Cent. It beats any fucking diss that you can
Eminem
think of.
and Machine Gun Kelly. Like,
beats that shit. They don't even fucking compare to what Kendrick did.
He's in the stratosphere with this one.
It is the greatest diss in hip hop history. It beats Ice Cube's No Vaseline against NWA and Eazy-E. It beats all that shit because none of those men, none of these rappers, none of these artists got the other person to diss themselves without even fucking knowing it.
Just the goal and just to be able to do that and just knowing Drake well enough, because this was coming off of their tour.
Yes.
That he knew him well enough to know he's not going to question this. He's just going to rap whatever I put in front of him.
Exactly.
And it worked. And it
worked to perfection.
And even if you go back and watch the music video, you can see it.
You can see it. It's clear as fucking day.
Yeah.
And Kendrick is just leaving you nuggets. These little, like, breadcrumbs.
And it explains why Drake has not fired back, really. I
mean,
like
they take subliminal digs at each other.
Little tiny digs.
But he will never speak that man's name. He'll never put it out there. Like, I remember him going at Meek Mill, and, it was a couple of songs, like 0 to 100, like, they're trying to drain me of my energy, like, he would rather go at Meek fucking Mill than Kendrick Lamar, who at the same time is also taking digs at him because of his...
Yeah, the whole time Kendrick was putting out digs on Drake while Drake was dealing with the beef between him and Meek Mills.
Exactly. So I feel like now that you understand, like, okay, this is the thought. The thought is Kendrick Lamar pulled off the greatest pimp of all time, the greatest game, the greatest gambit, whatever you want to call it, on Drake, and it's the greatest.
He hustled him.
He hustled him to fucking perfection, and no one has anything we've seen online. Rolling Stone magazine, Double XL, The Source. Everyone has timelines of the beef,
but it all starts with control.
But it all starts with control. But really, in all reality, it starts with Poetic Justice.
It starts with Poetic Justice, and once you see it, you can't unsee it.
And it's there, and it's in your mind.
And it's the most beautiful work of art
it is.
I think I've ever seen.
It's wild to me because, like, I've been studying hip hop because I resonate with it.
You're in love with the culture.
Yeah,
you're in love with because it's like a puzzle, and you guys got to see it. I didn't even understand hip hop until Anthony started over time kind of breaking it down for me, because it is like anytime a new album comes out, he will sit there and break it down, just listen to it over and over again, because they're like pieces of a puzzle.
It's amazing.
And you put it together, and you have to have an extensive vocabulary to understand it. You have to have pop culture reference, like knowledge.
Yeah.
You really have to dig in, and it's like the biggest puzzle to put together these rap lyrics. This is not just about...
It's not just about bitches and money and hoes and going to the club and getting drunk. Sure, there's certain artists who do that, but I'm talking about like guys like Kendrick Lamar, guys like J. Cole, Eminem, Jay-Z, these guys who have this deep reverence, this deep connection to hip hop, and this deep connection to rap in general, who take it so seriously.
Yeah, because we talked about this before, that rap is not a music genre. It's what it's kind of become, but it started out as a movement.
It started out as a movement. It started out as a way for, black men, especially in America, to get their voices out, voices of the of oppression.
They were being oppressed, and art, this was the art form that they were able to use to communicate what was happening in these hoods, what was happening, the amount of oppression
in these hoods.
Hey, I grew up in some hoods.
You grew up in some hoods, yeah.
But yeah, like it's incredible to see that the movement has not ended.
No, that there are certain people, there are certain guys in the rap game who take it so seriously and covet it so much that they would do anything to protect the art form.
The movement has been watered down.
And
that's
absolutely.
That's what this whole diss is about. It's less about Drake, but the fact that Drake has let himself be used to water down the movement of rap.
Yes. So back to, the story. It was, I popped up at like 3:30. I woke you up and I told you, I think this motherfucker got Drake to diss himself, and he didn't even know it.
Yeah.
And I want to start at the beginning. I want to start back in, 1996. Kendrick's 9 years old, and he goes to the Compton swap meet with his dad. His dad was just driving by and saw that Tupac and Dr. Dre were filming a music video there, California Love. And Kendrick's on the record multiple times saying, this one moment changed my life. He was on his dad's shoulders watching his hero, Tupac, in this music video. Mm-hmm. And I think that's
and rapping about their community.
Yeah. I mean, California Love, like the city of Compton, we keep it rocking. Like, it was a song about California. So I think that one moment, obviously it inspired Kendrick to become the rapper that he is. But I think on a human level, it changed him. I think that
it gave him a purpose.
It gave him a purpose, right? Because he sees his hero in the hood, coming back to Compton, Dre coming back to Compton, because Tupac's not from there, Dre is, and he's still giving back to the community. He's still coming back to, where he's from. And I think that touched Kendrick so much. And I think that goes into explaining why he holds this art form of hip hop in such high regard as really the last form of human expression left. When you think about music as a whole, no one has really had anything to say since the 90s. The
90s, and the huge thing about the 90s with the music industry in general is that there was a huge movement from opposition to police the lyrics. I encourage everyone to go and watch the Defiant Ones. It gives you a really good picture of what was happening in the 90s as far as music. And we've talked about it before, that the 90s, the music scene on the 90s, it was really the last time, we thought, it was really the last time anyone had anything real to say.
With a message across multiple art forms, across multiple genres
of music. And they tried so hard. The industry tried so hard. White America tried so hard to police these lyrics, to shut these guys up. Mm-hmm. And after the dust settled, after Pac was dead, after Biggie was dead, after, Eazy-E was dead, after Freddie Mercury was dead, after all these...
Kurt Cobain. Like, you can go down the list.
Down the list of all these amazing people who were rising up and speaking out about the inequality...
and oppression.
About the oppression, about trying to raise up the community.
And not just, not just Black Americans, but poor people. Like
poor Americans. When we're all... Like, that gap is getting bigger and bigger. We are all becoming that demographic.
Yeah.
That's what... whether you're poor and white or poor in Hispanic or Black or whatever, we are all battling the same thing.
We're still battling the same
But that's
systems.
why it takes all of us coming together, whites, Blacks, Hispanics, everybody coming together to raise up our brothers and sisters, our Black brothers and sisters, our Hispanic brothers and sisters, so we're all on the same page, and then we can fight the real enemy.
Yeah, which is
money.
Which is money.
Capital
and capitalism. Yeah. So, and I think too, like, you hit on it and you touched on it, and I think it's a good part to segue right here, where really the biggest voice out of the 90s was Tupac Shakur,
because he had something to say.
He actually had something to say. Sure, he had songs like I Get Around for radio play and for money, but he had, songs like Dear Mama. Like, he had all these really profound, touching songs.
Go back and look at his interviews too.
Yeah.
His
interview, this is an interview from 1992 in MTV where Tupac's talking about wealth inequality.
It's too much money here. I mean, nobody should be hitting lotto for $36 million and we got people starving in the streets. That is not idealistic. That's just real. That is just stupid. There's no way Michael Jackson should have, or whoever Jackson, should have $1,000,000 billion and then there's people starving. There's no way. There's no way that these people should own planes and their people don't have houses, apartments, shacks, drawers, pants.
Basically, these people, these rich people have planes. They have $52 million, and yet there's poor people on the fucking street. Like, he's battling and, you know, going in on
that was
socioeconomic
that
issues.
was 30 years ago.
Yeah, and it's
we're
still so true today.
And if anything, it's gotten worse.
Oh, way worse.
It's gotten so much worse. And the fact that Pac was talking about it 30 years ago and here we are talking about it today just makes me appreciate Kendrick's message so much more.
Yes.
Because he again is somebody who has something to say, which is desperately what we need right now in all art forms, but especially in the rap game, because that's
really where, like, and I hate to say this, and it's not a slight or a dig at any other form of art, or you know, genre of music, I should say.
It's the most relevant right now.
But it's the most relevant because look at what we're living through.
Yeah.
You know, we need to be having conversations, and instead, you know, we're hearing, you know, songs like One More Dance by Drake, and, you know, songs without a message, when now messaging is what we need the most.
Yeah. If you go through history and you want to know what the voice of the people were, not what the propaganda was, not what the history books say, but what the mood was, what the feelings were of that time, you look at the art.
Yeah.
And the biggest art form of that time, like you look at the Renaissance period, it was painting, because that was the biggest, hottest art form of the time.
Yeah, that was the thing to do.
You look at now, it's rap. Rap is the biggest art form that we have. And what is the best way to silence them? They couldn't get them to shut up. They couldn't. They couldn't police the lyrics. So
Jimmy Iovine refused to police the lyrics.
So instead, they just lift up rappers who have nothing to say, and it completely waters down the movement. It completely waters down.
It muddies the waters
form.
to the point where you don't know which is which.
Yeah.
And not only that, but you hear, you know, more Drake songs on the radio. You hear more 2 Chainz songs on the radio. You hear just more shit about bitches, monies, and hoes and shit.
Things that perpetuate stereotypes.
Stereotypical shit, yeah.
Instead of raising up the people. And the beautiful thing about Kendrick is, you know, he knows that especially with Poetic Justice, he hadn't hit yet real big. And so with Poetic Justice, it was about, he had to code it. He couldn't say what he wanted to say. And he had to put Drake on this so that he could get you guys
to actually listen.
Yeah, but he had to code everything because he didn't have the freedom to say what he really wanted to say, which is why when people look at the beef, they started at Control, because at that point he was able to say what he wanted to say.
And he called out people by name. You know, he called out his friends, people that, you know, like people he had collaborated with multiple times. Like,
maybe
everybody knows he had a good relationship with Mac Miller, but yet he's on that song. He's saying, like, I got love for you guys, but I'm trying to murder you. I'm trying to make sure your core fans never heard of you. That's insane. You know, like, just saying that. Like,
well, I think maybe if anything, it's a call to arms. Like, if you don't have anything to say, shut up.
Get the fuck out. Yeah.
And like, if you do want to be on my level, say something that means something.
Because this is, and he even says it on Control. He said, you know, this is hip hop and you should know what time it is.
Yeah.
You know, it's time to go. Like, we need to start progressing this movement forward again.
Yeah.
Because it's been so stagnant the last 20 years. Because the biggest voice, his hero Tupac, and guys like Biggie and, you know, Eazy-E, they're gone.
Yeah.
You know, that legacy is gone. And it's up to people like Kendrick and people like J. Cole and the Eminems and Jay-Z's of the world and the Hobsons and all these, and Logic. You know, there's a bunch of guys who really are tacticians. You know, they actually write their lyrics. They actually do their own shit. It's not just for show. It's not just for glitz and glam. It's not just a lifestyle. They actually live and breathe the movement.
Yeah.
So it's time for them, those people, to progress this movement even further.
And you can hear it even in like Eminem's newer stuff, his frustration with hip hop and in general, with the industry in general, because people like Eminem and Kendrick who have something to say are being silenced and ignored and
because radio stations won't play them.
Yeah, but they'll play the Drakes.
Oh, they'll play Drake 5 times a fucking hour.
They'll play the Tekashis.
We'll play Tekashi. We'll play Nicki Minaj. We'll play, you know, any of these artists. You know, I remember when I first started at the radio station out here in Washington, the biggest hit was Old Town Road. We were playing him, what's his name? Lil Nas X. We were playing this kid like 6 times an hour because the song was so short that you could fit it in anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, and people consider that hip hop and consider that rap. That's pop. That's bubblegum bullshit.
Yeah.
It's not really rap.
Yeah.
And that's what another thing that I got so annoyed with working at the radio stations is that even at the one back in Detroit, I would sit there and I was at an old school hip hop station knowing and loving that time of music, 90s, early 2000s hip hop. That's my bag. Like, that's the music I grew up with. So not only do I respect it, I know it like the back of my hand. And to have this radio station play the same 5 Ja Rule songs backed up against the same 3 J-Lo songs and one old Dirty Bastard song just for shits and giggles, it annoyed the fuck out of me because there's such a deep catalog of music that they're not even playing.
Yeah.
So I guess this is a good time to transition into, bringing it up to speed. So we get out of the 90s, we get out of, the Tupacs, the Eazy-E's, the Biggies, guys with something to say.
Kendrick's coming up now.
And Kendrick is now coming up. It's early 2011. Kendrick releases his first album, Section 80. Now, Section 80, by most hip-hop heads, most real hip-hop heads like me, we like it. It's a classic album, because it's so raw. It's, the song High Power is a classic. It's fucking unreal. However, Kendrick does not get the radio play that album really deserved. He doesn't get the notoriety or the recognition of it, and really, I think it kind of fucked with him. I think it was like, holy shit, I pushed out this amazing album, with all these, social concepts and stuff like that, and no one is listening. Literally, it only sold 9,000 copies. And meanwhile, in 2011, Drake has top songs on Billboard. At that time in 2011, the song was Best I Ever Had with him and Nicki Minaj. He had the #1 album in Thank Me Later, and it sold 49 times more than Kendrick's. And 5 years later, Thank Me Later, that album by Drake, it finally goes platinum. Now, this is where things start to get interesting. In 2012, in February, through June of 2012, Kendrick goes on tour with Drake, A$AP Rocky, and Steve Aoki. They're touring. This is for the Club Paradise tour. This is Drake's tour to basically promote his album, his second studio album, which was Take Care. And
this would be probably about when Kendrick finds out that Drake does not write his own shit, which is something we didn't find out until way later, way after.
3-4 years down the road.
Yeah, we didn't know. So when Poetic Justice came out, nobody knew that Drake
had ghostwriters.
His
main one being Quentin Miller. This guy, he, for lack of a better word, everyone in hip hop knows who Quentin Miller is. He's just Drake's ghostwriter. Yeah. Drake used him for a little while to spark ideas and, take his verses and stuff.
Drake is for sure like the Selena Gomez of
the Taylor Swift,
like the Britney Spears.
I can't even say Taylor Swift, and
Taylor Swift writes her own shit.
Yes, so, Taylor Swift writes her own shit.
But I mean, like, when I say Selena Gomez, I mean, like, she can't sing. She purchased her career.
Yes.
Britney Spears cannot. I mean, she can kind of sing, but she's a performer.
Yeah.
These people purchase their careers. Drake is a classic example of somebody who purchased his career. He's the perfect poster child for white approved rap.
Yes. And I think it's important to talk about how on Section 80, off that song High Power that I noted and talked about because it is the best song off that album, the music video has this little splice of, I guess it would be a note or an ode or something like that, I guess is what you could call it. But it says, I wrote #Section 80 because I was ordered to do so. You'll never understand my life and my world. Have you ever seen a newborn baby kill a man, Kendrick Lamar? The very next scene is a visual of me with the eyes of a 6-year-old. My mother told me to take this outtake because it is who I was. An infant looking for answers. Will you forgive me? I don't give a fuck about much nowadays because of the world. Heart, honor, respect, family. I'll die for that though. Will you forgive me twice? Probably not. I watched this video and reminisce on that crazy spelt with a K. And you'll understand why if you're a Tupac fan. Tupac has a song called Crazy with a K. I reminisce on that crazy AM hour of September 13th, 2010, When I got a visit from LaShawn Parrish Crooks, research this name. I remember being asleep. His image said, "Don't let me die." I was paranoid and said, "Why?" He said, "Because you're the," and then it cuts to the actual song and starts picking up. But LaShawn Parrish Cooks is Tupac's born name. So Kendrick has this dream in 2010 of Tupac visiting him in a dream. And he's basically saying to him, like, and this is, you know, Kendrick's been on the record of talking about this dream too. Tupac says to him in this dream, "Do not let my music die. Don't let my message.
Don't let the movement die.
Don't let this movement die. This is up to you.
Yeah.
I'm telling you to do this. I'm ordering you to do this.
Carry the torch."
Yes. So it's important to note that as we move forward as well. But like I said, Drake has this album, Thank Me Later. It sold 49 times the amount of albums that Kendrick's Section 80 sold. And it goes triple platinum, or it goes platinum 5 years later. Like I said, February through June, Kendrick in 2012 goes on tour with Drake, A$AP Rocky, and Steve Aoki. And while they're touring, they obviously, now this is where the speculation comes in of the conspiracy theory that we're presenting today. However,
I think it kind of tracks because
I think it definitely tracks.
You know, Good Kid, Mad City was released in, when was it released?
It was October of 2012.
October of 2012. Okay, so if the beginning of the year, you know, he's touring with Drake,
who has all these #1 hits.
Yeah,
off the Take Care album.
Poetic Justice is part of Good Kid, Mad City. So obviously they collaborated.
Yes. Or, you know, you start forming relationships with the guys you're on tour with. You're partying with them. You're getting money with them. And, you know, Kendrick is opening for him, so maybe they're building a relationship.
And I think at this point, if I'm just imagining myself as Kendrick in this situation.
Being
You're
in
seeing,
his shoes.
Yeah, in his shoes, seeing all of these highly regarded rappers, and you're touring with, you get to know them pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
And to see Drake.
You're sleeping with these guys, you know, 7 nights a week. Maybe not like on the same bus, but like you're moving from city to city with one another.
Yeah, and then you have Drake, who's from Toronto.
Yeah,
he's
not from the upbringing that Kendrick had.
Actor to rapper, but rapper he's not a rapper. He's a performer. Let's be honest. He purchased his career.
Yes, he did.
So he's not, you know, he has no pride in it. He has nothing to say. And here's Kendrick with everything to say, but with no audience.
Powerful message.
Powerful message, no audience. So he's seeing, okay, this is a game, and I have to play the game.
I have to figure out a way to pimp Drake into helping me launch myself into this next, you know, echelon of rappers. Because like we said, his first album, Section 80, had only sold 9,000 copies.
Yeah, and, you know, this whole time he's trying to continue on with Pac's message, but if he doesn't have an audience, then
he's not going to be able to communicate the message in the first place.
And back in the 90s when Pac came up, he was different. They were different because what they were saying, nobody else was saying, and they were making people pay attention. But now, you know, everyone's desensitized to it to a point where it's like, okay, yeah, we've heard that before, or oh, you like Pac, we get it, you know, whatever, you know, not really listening to what Kendrick has to say. So now he has to code everything so that he can be playable, because the radios won't play him.
The radio will not play him.
So he has to play
because
the game.
The radio stations would rather play something with a hot beat and a catchy hook, and something with a message of go party, go out and, you know, spend your money.
Perpetuate the stereotypes, keep them distracted, keeps them down.
Yes. So through, like I said, through February through June, he's touring with Drake. He takes a break in June, and the assumption is he goes back to Compton, goes back to LA, goes back to California.
Works with Dre. Dre has signed him.
Yes. At this point, Dr. Dre has come in and has now signed Kendrick Lamar to the Aftermath label, and they begin working on Good Kid, Mad City. October of 2012, Good Kid, Mad City drops. If you don't know, that's an incredible album. You should really go fucking listen to it. But some of the biggest radio play of that fall, going into even in the spring of 2013, is songs like Swimming Pools, Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe. You know, like
Yeah.
he had a couple of big radio hits at the time.
Including Poetic Justice.
Including Poetic Justice, which was, I believe, the second or third single off the album.
Yeah.
So this is just something that they slipped into radio stations after these two massive hits from Kendrick.
Yeah.
So Poetic Justice peaked at number 6 because of, obviously, Drake being the person who he is. He has, you know, and
He'll
just
get radio play. It doesn't matter what
yeah.
what he does. He'll get the radio play.
Yeah, and you know, coming from a background of radio, if you work at a top 40 station, no matter what, as soon as you get slided new Drake, you're playing it twice an hour, no matter what. You're playing it every 30 minutes, every 15 minutes, depending on how hot the track is. Because Drake, no matter what, if he comes out with a song, top 40 stations will play it, knowing you in your car will listen to it.
Well, and a new rapper with a feature from Drake is a sign of approval from Drake. For the white community.
Exactly.
Which is what Kendrick needed to get the radio play, to get the audience that he needed to get his message out.
Exactly.
Okay, so right now we're going to go ahead and play you the first verse of Poetic Justice, which is Kendrick's verse. And here you go.
I recognize your fragrance. Hold up, you ain't never gotta say shit. And I know you taste this a little bit. High maintenance. Everybody else basic. You live life on an everyday basis with poetic justice. Poetic justice. If I told you that a flower bloomed in a dark room, would you trust it? I mean, I write poems in these songs dedicated to you when you're in the mood for empathy. It's blood in my pen. Better yet, with your friends and them. I really wanna know you all. I really wanna show you off. Fuck that, pour up plenty of champagne. Cold nights when you curse this name. You called up your girlfriends and y'all curled in that little bitty range. I heard that she wanna go and party. She wanna go and party. Nigga, don't approach her with that Atari. Nigga, that ain't good game, homie, sorry. They say conversation rule a nation. I can tell, but I could never right my wrongs lest I write it down for real. P.S.
Rappers use a woman as a metaphor or for a euphemism
for rap
itself.
Yeah.
Like,
which, and we've talked about this, rap is a movement. So when we talk about she, we're talking about rap, we're talking about the movement. We're talking about the Black civil rights movement. We're talking about equality in general. So keep that in mind as we go through and kind of
dissect line by line.
These. Yeah. So in the beginning, he's talking about recognizing your fragrance. He's talking about, I know you. I know you.
I grew up with you.
Yeah. And he says, you know, I know your taste is a bit high maintenance. He's talking about you need a lot.
Yeah.
That we have a long way to go. You need a lot. Because there is such an inequality. You know, everybody else is basic. Everybody else has a better starting point.
Yeah.
Talking about white America. Our starting, like being white, and, you know, he grew up, I
grew up middle class suburbs. Yeah.
I grew up kind of a mixed bag. You know, I've been very
sometimes poor.
Sometimes not. But even at my poorest, you know, your starting point is better. Yeah. Because you don't have that added
pressure of being Black in America.
And something that identifies you as different.
Yeah. Or dangerous.
Or dangerous, that we have been fed this propaganda our entire lives.
Since the Nixon era, really, when they were trying to portray Black people on the news every night as criminals.
It's since way before that. I mean, how else do you get a bunch of people to be okay with enslaving, abusing, and hurting a group of people?
Yeah. You
dehumanize them. You make them scary. You make them the boogeyman.
Yeah, every night.
You know, so that is where, you know, he's the starting off point for a white person versus a person of color
is completely
different. And so he's talking about everybody else basic. Their starting out point is better. You live life on an everyday basis. You're in survival mode. You are in survival mode right now.
Especially knowing where, you know, Kendrick comes from in the city of Compton. Like, it's a fucking tough life there.
Yeah.
It's not one. I guarantee there's not a white person listening to this right now. And if you do, you're full of fucking shit when I say this. You would not switch lives with a person who's living in Compton right now. Black, white, or otherwise. You would not fucking do it.
Yeah.
So
the struggle of getting out like the layers and layers and layers of suppression on people who are in poor communities. There is just so many obstacles to get through. And he's speaking to that group of people right now. And when he's talking about poetic justice, everything in rap really is like a double entendre.
Especially for guys like Kendrick and like J. Cole and like Eminem. Everything has double, triple, quadruple meanings.
Yeah.
It's not just them talking about a girl. Like, they're talking about different shit. It's three things all at once.
Yeah. And it could mean something in one line and mean something else in another line. You have to really look at the meaning of the words, the root of the words. You have to look at the references that they're making. And like I said before, it's a puzzle. So anybody who doesn't know, Poetic Justice is a movie starring Tupac.
Yes, and Janet Jackson. Who is the woman on the hook singing in Poetic Justice.
So Poetic Justice, when he's referring to it, it's one, poetic justice is, this is the only way that he can get any sort of like that marginalized groups can get justice is through this form of poetry. Right now, like I said, art is sometimes the only voice that we have. And this is the biggest art form that we have right now, and it captivates the biggest audience. So poetic justice is a reference to not only Pac, but this is the only way we can get any sort of justice right now. This is how we start
pulling ourselves up.
Moving the line and moving ourselves up. It's through communication, right?
Yes.
So he's talking about poetic justice. He says, if I told you a flower bloomed in a dark room, would you trust it? Do you believe what he is saying about you? Do you believe that you are beautiful and that just because you are living in Compton or you're living in a hood or you're growing up and
you're growing up in Detroit, you're growing up in any type of
poverty or abuse or whatever your circumstance is, do you believe that you are worthy, you are beautiful, and that you can grow, that you can and do you trust me or do you trust society? Do you trust what people are saying about you or do you trust what I'm saying
about us?
Yes. And he writes this part we talked about. So this is going to come up again later in one of Drake's verses, but he writes, I write poems in these songs dedicated to you. He says, I'm writing about you.
Yes.
He's writing about his community.
He's writing about Black America. Yeah.
He writes, when you're in the mood for empathy, there is blood in my pen. He says, he's pouring his heart into this, his soul. Yeah. When he writes, when Kendrick writes, he is writing to Black America and he's writing with empathy. I see who you are. I see where you're from.
Yes.
And I understand you.
Yeah.
I am writing for you. There's blood in my pen. This is his heart and soul. This is everything.
This is everything to him. This is what he is, at the root of it.
He writes, better yet, where your friends and them. And he says, when he's saying that, he's saying, where are these people that you covet? The Drakes, the rappers who have nothing to say.
Yeah.
Where are
no
they?
Messaging rappers.
Yeah. Where are they when you need them? What have they done to deserve your attention?
Your money.
Your money.
Your time.
They're taking your money. They're taking your attention. They're taking your time.
Yeah.
What have they done to deserve that? He says, I really want to know you all. I really want to show you off. I really care about you.
Yeah.
I really want to talk about you and what you're going through. And I want to give you a stage. And I want to take your message. I want to take
and broadcast
your struggles. And I want to broadcast it for the world to see. He said,
well, not just the world to see, white America to see.
White America. Well, and to start creating that conversation that we need to have that keeps being silenced.
Yes.
And the Drakes of the world are part of that problem. They're part of silencing.
Fucking chills thinking about this shit. Okay.
Yeah. They're part of silencing the voices of like Kendrick.
Yeah.
He says, fuck that. Pour up plenty of champagne. He's saying all they want you to do, all they want is for you to party. So all you want to do is party.
Yeah.
Fuck. So he says, cold nights when you curse this name, you don't want to hear the truth. He's saying you don't want to hear the truth because they don't want you to hear the truth.
They don't want you to keep talking about it. They don't want you to realize that this movement, they killed it.
Yeah.
They absolutely
killed it.
murdered it.
They told you to stop caring about it, so you stopped caring about it. They told you to want to party and you just want to have fun because it's so much easier
to do that.
And if you've grown up in a tough community or a tough situation, sometimes you just need a break. And so the Drakes and all of that, it gives you an escape, but it doesn't raise you up.
No, it doesn't.
It's like fast food. It keeps you fat. It keeps you dumb.
Yup. Oh my God. I love that analogy. All right, continue.
Yeah. So he goes on to say, cold nights when you curse this name, you don't want to hear it. You called up your girlfriends. Y'all curled up in that little bitty range. I heard that. She want to go and party. She want to go and party. They want you distracted. They want you
to stay down.
They want you to stay down. You know, whatever they feed you, they want your money. They want your compliance. They want your distraction.
Yes.
They do not want you to organize. They do not want you to communicate. They do not want you to elevate yourself.
No. And elevate your consciousness, your state of mind.
Yeah. And he goes on to say, you know, N-word, don't approach. I don't know what to say right there. I'm going to replace the N-word with Drake. We'll just say that. Drake, don't approach her with that Atari. Drake, that ain't good game, homie. Sorry. He says, don't keep perpetuating. And it's not just Drake. And when I say Drake, I mean
Drake
anybody.
It's a metaphor for anyone that lacks a message.
Anyone who has benefited from the industry but has not used their platform and to say something
and progress
the movement, because rap again is a movement. So he says, Drake, don't approach her with that Atari. Drake, that ain't good game, homie. Sorry. He's saying, don't keep perpetuating old stereotypes. You are hurting. You are not helping.
Yes.
They say conversation rule a nation. I can tell. But I could never right my wrongs unless I write it down for real. So he's saying action. They say conversation rule a nation. It's when he's talking about I could never right my wrongs unless I write them down. It is an action.
Yes, and this is the part where again, it's 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I'm waking you up out of a cold sleep, and I'm like, what did he just fucking say? Because it's wild that like he's even saying like I could never even begin to right the wrongs that I'm doing in life. Or anything like that, unless I'm writing it for real.
And Kendrick is using his skill, his talent. He's using his words to raise up a nation, to raise up Black America.
Yes.
He is doing this. He's using this platform to do it. He's using his art to give a voice, to do something. Action, right?
Yes.
We're talking about action. And this is going to be important for when you go over Drake's lines.
Yes.
Okay. So then he ends it with PS, which we talked about postscript, but what it really is.
And this is when I started digging down the rabbit hole and going through the album, because in the album they'll give you like, you know, pictures and visuals, and they'll also give you a book of, you know, in the book it'll have lyrics and writing credits in it.
Yeah, and there's little clues. And this little clue is P.S.
It's
not P.S.
which is postscript.
So what he's saying is Pak Shakur.
Pak Shakur.
He's reminding you that it's a movement. This entire song is a love letter to rap, to the rap movement, to the Black
Compton, his city,
to the Black community in general, to Black America. Because let's get this straight. Drake is not Black America. Drake is Black Canada. So if he has a message for Black Canadians, cool beans, dude. Yeah. Do your thing. But what he's doing is he is coming and he is singing to Black America.
And he's profiting from these hoods and from this community.
Yes.
And unless, like, you know, coming back to what you said about Kendrick, unless you're moving it forward, don't approach this game like this.
Yeah.
Don't come here with this message, or don't come to this without a message, I should say.
Yeah. Don't come to this without a message. You're muddying the waters. We are trying to achieve something. You are standing in the way.
Yes. All right here I think is a good spot for us to play you Drake's verse from Poetic Justice.
I really hope you play this, cause oh girl, you test my patience with all these seductive photographs and all these one-off vacations you've been taking. Clearly a lot for me to take in, it don't make sense. Young East African girl, you too busy fucking with your other man. I was trying to put you on game, put you on a plane, take you and your mama to the motherland. I could do it, maybe one day, when you figure out you're gonna need someone, when you figure out it's all right here in the city and you don't run from where we come from. That sound like poetic justice, poetic justice. You were so new to this life, but goddamn, you got adjusted. I mean, I write poems in these songs dedicated to the fun sex, your natural hair and your soft skin and your big ass and that sundress. Ooh, good God, what you doing that walk for? When I see that thing move, I just wish we would fight less and we would talk more. They say communication save relations, I can tell, but I can never right my wrongs unless I write them down for real. P.S.
So it starts off, you know, it comes out of the hook. Poetic Justice put it in a song. Drake starts the verse by saying, I really hope you play this. Meaning, I hope you listen now that your favorite rapper is saying it to you. Because what is our hypothesis? What is this whole episode fucking about? Drake did not write this verse. Kendrick Lamar wrote this verse and got Drake to diss himself in the verse.
Yeah, and if you need confirmation, think about Drake writing these lines. It makes no sense with Drake writing it.
This is the thing that kept me up for 4 hours.
Yeah, it makes no sense, and that's what made you think it was like, it makes no sense that Drake wrote this.
And it
makes
just struck me as so beautiful, and I said, Drake, like, you know, like Soldier Boy on the Breakfast Club, like Drake. So he goes, I really hope you play this. He's saying, like, I hope you listen now. Like Kendrick is saying, speaking through Drake, I hope you listen now that I have your favorite rapper saying it to you. Because, oh, girl, you test my patience. With all these seductive photographs and all these one-off vacations. He's talking about one-off vacations being like these one-hit wonders, or these guys who come into rap and are just, you know, it's a one-off. Like, okay, cool. You have one good album. You have one good song. You have one good message.
Yeah.
But you don't further it. You don't build on it.
Well, and we talked about like Drake and all these rappers with songs that don't mean anything. It's like a vacation for your mind. Like you're like, you don't have to think about it.
No,
it's
because
just
the music and the lyrics are so dumbed down.
Yeah, and they just perpetuate stereotypes.
After stereotype after stereotype.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So he goes, you've been taken. And it's not taken like as he's talking about like a vacation that you take. He's saying you've been taken. You've been had. You've been got. You, the listener, have been fooled by people like this, by people like Drake.
Yeah.
You know, perpetuating these stereotypes.
Well,
like
and
we
it's
just
not by
talked
it's
about.
and even Drake is a part of that. He was fooled as well.
Yes.
Like he thinks he's just doing a job. He doesn't know that he's disrupting a movement.
No, he doesn't understand.
Because the industry has been fooling all of you.
All of you. So it's clearly a lot for me to take in. It don't make sense. Like rap was a movement. He goes on to say, young East African girl, you're too busy fucking with your other man. Kendrick is saying there, like, you're too busy fucking with Drake and rappers who have nothing to say.
Yeah. Drake is the other man.
He is the other man. I was trying to put you on game, put you on a plane, take you and your mama to the motherland. Kendrick is saying, like, I'm trying to lift you up. I'm trying to lift this community up.
I'm trying to get you to recognize that you are the kings and queens of Africa. That this is who you are, the motherland. You are not Black America. You are so much more.
So much more.
You are so much more than slavery, because before slavery, you were kings and queens.
Yes. Oh my God, that's so fucking beautiful. He continues on to say, I could do it maybe one day. When you figure out you're gonna need someone, when you figure out it's all right here in the city and you don't run from where we come from.
And we know this wasn't Drake.
No.
Because where is he from? He's from Canada. He's from Toronto.
Fucking Toronto.
What would he be talking about?
He
Why
grew
would
up
that
in the
make
middle
sense?
class. Sure, he came from a broken home.
He came from fucking
mother.
Degrassi.
Yeah, he came up from Degrassi. He was
Life is tough in Degrassi.
Yeah, he was industrialized at an early age. Or is it industrialized? I don't know.
He was indoctrined. He was
indoctrined into this fucking.
Yeah.
You know, this.
He is the poster child for for white approved rap, and we talked about that.
Yes,
he is the poster child for it.
He is. He's the poster child for white approved rap. Drake continues to rap. Again, this is Kendrick writing this. That sounds like poetic justice. Poetic justice. You were so new to this life, but goddamn, you got adjusted. It's saying they gave you just enough to silence you,
to satiate you, and then,
to satiate you, to appetite, to appease you.
Yeah, because we had what we have. We had the Civil War, right? You got your rights.
Yes.
And then we had Jim Crow, and we came out of that with the Civil Rights Act. So they give you just enough. Okay, you have your freedom. But we're going to find other ways to suppress you. Okay, you can vote now.
Yes.
But we have other ways to suppress you. They give you just enough, and then you stop fighting.
Yes.
And that's what happened after
because
Pac.
Now you become satisfied with that little morsel of shit that they gave you.
And you're content with that. But again, they will always find a way to keep you down. So it's a continuous thing.
These systems that are in place. It's not just one particular person.
It's
It's a cabal of systems. And it's every fucking thing. You go from education.
Yeah, and it's gotten so off the rails, and I can speak on this because being white and everything, I don't even know that it's even a conscious thing anymore because these systems have been in place for so long that we just accept it.
Yes.
It's a fixed belief.
And we think that there's no other way to do something.
Yeah.
We're conditioned to think like this is the way it is because it always has been and it always will be.
Yeah.
And this is the best system that works for everybody when really it's a fucking lie.
Yeah.
You know, you have to unthink and unlearn everything that they taught you in school.
Yeah.
Because you were indoctrinated into this type of thinking at the earliest fucking age.
Yeah.
Why do you think in the education system in America they have the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yeah, it's nationalism.
It's this toxic nationalism. So Kendrick continues on, and again, this is Drake's verse that Kendrick actually wrote.
This is Kendrick speaking through Drake.
I mean, he continues to say, I write poems in these songs dedicated to the fun sex. He got Drake to say this line, and when you really break it down, he's saying like, I write about the meaningless. I write about stuff that lacks depth, substance. I write about the fun sex.
And we all know that he doesn't really write anyway.
No.
But he's literally saying my songs are about nothing.
Absolutely
meaningless
jack
sex.
shit. And you consume it still though.
Yeah.
So he continues to say, your natural hair, your soft skin, and that big ass and that sundress. Ooh, good God, what are you doing that walk for? When I see that thing move, I just wish we would fight less and we would talk more. He's saying, like, stop.
Love yourself. You're beautiful.
Yes.
And
stop, like, ragging on each other. We need to come together as a community.
Yeah.
We need to bring all of this into the fold. We need to bring this together.
Yeah, and is that the end of his part? No, you have a little bit more.
And he says, and they say communications, Drake continuing on in the verse, and they say communications save relations, I can tell, but I can never right my wrongs unless I write them down for real. And this is where...
This is a huge diss.
This is the biggest diss in hip-hop history, and no one has ever fucking... Anything I've seen online, no one has discovered this.
And I think it's because it precedes... everyone finding out that Drake doesn't write his own shit.
Yes, it does. And no one goes back to read this.
Yeah,
right?
So then Poetic Justice takes on a new meaning.
Yes.
Because it's like he has now gotten Drake to say, I will never right my wrongs unless I write them down for real. He does not write his own stuff.
No.
He will never write his wrongs because he can never admit that he does not write his lyrics.
Because the facade will then be exposed.
Yeah, and that is poetic justice. Again, another layer of poetic justice.
And it's so fitting, too, that he would name that song that, because what does it do? It pays homage to Tupac, his idol, who was this prolific writer, performer, like a true artist.
Civil rights activist,
a true artist in every sense of the word. Like there were times, and we're big on the Jimmy and Dre documentary, when Dre starts talking about Tupac, he said he would go in the booth, write a verse, put the track up, boom, do another one, do another one. He was so prolific.
So talented. And he had so much to say.
At such a young age.
And maybe that's why, and maybe this is part of the point too. Maybe that's why Drake can't write. He has nothing to say.
He has nothing that hardened him.
Think about Eminem. Think about Kendrick. Think about Pac. Think about all of these guys. Even Dre and all of his writers, they have something to say.
Yes.
NWA. Yeah, NWA, Wu-Tang
Clan.
These are people who have something to say, and they literally can't stop.
No.
And they have never stopped. It pours out of them.
Yes.
And Drake, meanwhile, is blasted all over the radio, and he
profiting from it.
And profiting from it. He can't even put pen to paper and he can't write anything.
And this is the funniest part about it. So like now, you know, like I've been working on this theory for what, like 2.5, 3 weeks.
It's been a couple of weeks, but before we get too far into that, I want to like put in our video clip here and talk about, because this video clip
shows everything,
and it really helps paint the picture.
It drives the point home.
Thank you, Kendrick, for this beautiful music video that just helped us understand
solidify everything
a little bit more, because it is so good.
It is.
So in this clip, we see the shooting happens. The enemy shoots Kendrick and the girl.
Yes.
Right. And if you notice the cutaways, when Kendrick is singing, he's singing to the girl who he protects, the beautiful natural hair. And who's calling her? Drake. Drake is the caller.
Yeah.
He's calling her, and he's rapping these verses to her, because he's the other man. And who is he with? He's in bed with another woman. He doesn't even care about her.
No.
But he's calling her, and he's rapping this to her. It's Kendrick speaking to her through Drake.
Yes. And not only that, but you know, she shot. That call goes to voicemail. So he's leaving, you know, it almost like
he's leaving Drake on voicemail.
Yeah, on voicemail.
He's sending Drake to voicemail.
Or, you know, Kendrick writes this verse and Drake just reads it, you know, and says it into a microphone, leaving a voicemail message. You know, this is Kendrick.
Here's your guy.
Yep.
Here's that guy you want to hear. You won't listen to me, so I'll speak through him.
Yes.
Because he is just a puppet.
Yes.
And I'll show you he's a puppet, because just like the industry uses him to distract you, I will use him to send you a message.
Yes.
And on top
of... Oh my God, that's amazing. I can't believe no one figured this out.
And on top of that, what does it show you? Kendrick would die for you.
He would not only die for you, he would die for the movement.
He will die, and because
it's not just a woman. Yeah, it's the movement. It's hip hop. It's rap.
She's representative of rap, of the movement, of the Black community.
Yeah.
And Drake is the distraction. He's the guy calling in. He's the guy who won't even show up.
No.
He won't even show up because he's off with another woman.
Yep.
And where's Kendrick? He's
in the hood.
He's in the hood. He sacrificed himself for you. He would die for you. That is his blood. That is him being shot.
Yeah.
While Drake's calling in and going to voicemail because he's too busy with
another woman. And I love that in the video too. You know, you just see... You know, Kendrick Lamar is laying lifeless with bullet holes in his back, and he's laying on top of the girl.
And she's holding the phone.
Yeah,
and
it's Drake calling. And it's so profound. Like, the music video just really sends it home.
And the cutting away, that's the other thing that solidified it for me, is the cutting away. And it's, you know, Kendrick rapping to the girl, the one that represents rap in the movement in Black America. And then you see Drake rapping, and who's he rapping to? Yeah, a beautiful Black woman, but one with a weave in her hair.
Yep.
The version of the white America approved version of a Black woman.
America. Yeah. Of a woman in Black America. Yeah. Oh my God, that's amazing.
So I think right here is a good time to go ahead and play you Kendrick's final verse from Poetic Justice.
Every time I write these words, they become a taboo. Making sure my punctuation curve, heavy letter hits true. Living my life in the margin, and that metaphor was proof. I'm talking poetic justice, poetic justice. If I told you that a flower bloomed in a dark room, would you trust it? I mean, you need to hear this. Love is not just a verb, it's you looking in the mirror. Love is not just a verb, it's you looking for it, maybe. Call me crazy, we can both be insane. A fatal attraction is common, and what we have common is pain. I mean, you need to hear this. Love is not just a verb, and I can see power steering. Sex drive when you swerve, I want that interference. It's coherent, I can hear it. That's your heartbeat, it either caught me or it caught me. Read slow and you'll find gold mines in these lines. Sincerely, yours truly, and right before you go blind. P.S. You can get it, you can get it, you can get it, you can get it. And I know just what you want. Poetic justice, put it in the song.
But this is the one that really brought it home for me. He starts off by saying, every time I write these words, they become a taboo, you know, like, and what does the word taboo mean? And I give you credit for this too, because you've been helping me with this a lot, you know, and I really do thank you for it, because sure, I had this idea in my head, but you helped me conceptualize it. You helped me really break down line by fucking line.
Yeah, because you at the beginning, you thought this was just about Drake and rap, but when together we figured out this is so much bigger than Drake and rap.
No.
I went and listened to the song on my own, and I came back and I told you this is a love letter to Compton, to Black America, to rap, the movement, not rap the genre.
No, the movement. So he goes, he says, every time I write these words, they become a taboo. It's forbidden. So he has to code this.
Taboo means forbidden. So every word has another meaning, so you have to go back and look at what the word means,
and you have to code it. He has to
get played.
At this point in his career, you know, it's 2012 and he's recording Good Kid, Mad City. Section 80 didn't sell, so he can't say what he wants to say. He has to play this game and pimp Drake out in order to get his message across.
That's why he keeps saying gold mines in these lines. You have to search for it. He can't say it. You have to dig for it.
Yes, and we dug.
We did it.
So he continues to say, making sure my punctuation curve. Every letter here is true. He's so careful with his words.
Has to be so
He's
careful.
So meticulous with these words because this is all he has.
He says one wrong thing and he won't get radio play.
Yes, and they'll snatch it from him. They'll take his career. They'll take his platform. They'll disenfranchise him.
He has to make himself big enough that he can say that he's bulletproof.
Yes.
And so this song was that key. Was the key for him to get the audience that he needed.
Yes,
to be able to be the Kendrick that we know today, who will say whatever the fuck he wants and doesn't care.
And we'll get into that too, because all of this ties into his project To Pimp a Butterfly as well. So he says, making sure my punctuation curve, every letter here is true. Living my life in the margin, and that metaphor was proof. I'm talking poetic justice. Poetic justice. If I told you that a flower bloomed in a dark room, would you trust it? I mean, you need to hear this. Love is not just a verb. It's you looking in the mirror. Love is not sex. Love is self-care and believing that, you know, you can accomplish anything.
Yeah, he's trying to tell you to love yourself. And I want to go back up just a minute to when he says, because this line got me when he said, every time I write these words, they become taboo. They become forbidden. Living my life in the margin. He has to be so careful. The margin meaning, you know, being marginalized, living my life in the
institutionalized.
Yeah, he's been in the margin, but or
on the outskirts of society.
On the outskirts of society.
On the outskirts of rap and the hip hop game.
And margin, if you look at the definition, means writing the line, like having to be very. Oh, see, I'm putting that writing the line of what is acceptable to white America, but still being able to get his message out. Yeah. And he says that metaphor was proof. He's telling you, he's saying metaphor because he wants you to go back and look. Yeah, and he's talking, love is not just a verb, it's you looking in the mirror. Love is not sex, love is self-care, it's believing in that you can accomplish anything.
Because look at me. Yeah. Look at what I'm accomplishing.
Yeah.
Look to me.
That's what he says. Call me crazy. We can both be insane. If I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah. And I love this line afterwards. He goes, "A fatal attraction is common, and what we have common is pain." He's saying like our connection is so strong, and the power behind it, you know, the thing that connects him to the listener, to Compton, to Black America, to hip hop, is the fact that all of those things are oppressed.
Oppression.
The message is suppressed. You know, it's this institutionalism again, you know, in our schools, in the hood, you know, all these systems that Black people fight against every day. And it's amazing to me, like how he's able to convey that there.
It is. It's really, this whole song just gives, now listening to it, just gives me goosebumps.
Every time I listen to it.
It really, and I know you think still that, you know, Eminem's the GOAT, but I gotta say Kendrick is the GOAT.
I think after this,
this is just too.
I love Eminem. I'm a fucking slap.
Yeah, but Eminem
never dissed somebody like this.
Let me just say this, okay? I can really appreciate Eminem.
Yes.
I can say he is a part of the movement because I don't think that he is a Drake. I think that he is.
He came in at a time where there was. A time in hip hop where there was a void in messaging.
Yeah.
You know, Tupac and Biggie had just died. It's early 2000, 2001.
Yes.
And here's this guy saying these outlandish things, and he's saving and preserving this art form. Yeah. And I think that's why he gets so upset on his albums, and he gets upset when people take little digs at him and shots at him, because it's like, well, I'm still here. Well, I'm still protecting this art
Let's not get too far off onto a tangent of Eminem, because he'll go forever.
Yeah.
But what I mean is, like, Eminem is definitely part of the movement, but Eminem could never, ever, ever be the movement. No. Because Eminem, and he can never be the greatest of all time as far as a rapper goes, because while he can be a part of the movement, he cannot be the movement.
No.
Kendrick can. At the end of the day, Eminem is white.
Yeah.
And I hate to make it about black and white, but this movement started as Black America speaking up and having something to say, and this was the only way they could get it out. Eminem, he can be a part of that, but he can never be the greatest because he is not Black.
Wow.
Period.
She said it, not me. Hi, Em, if you're listening. So Kendrick continues on in this third verse. He says, "Love is not just a verb, and I can see power steering." He's saying love is an action, and I can see the power shifting to these people, to people. And he's continuing, he's like, it's coherent. I can hear it. It's unity. You know, when love is at the wheel, we can see change. You know, we can take that power back. Yeah. We can grab hold of the steering wheel and shift the dynamic back.
And the thing with love, and this was the underlying message I felt like through the whole song, is it's about loving yourself. And once you start loving yourself, it just, you don't have to worry.
It's like a virus. It spreads.
It spreads. It starts with self-love, and then it leaks out into the rest of your life. And I know this because growing up the way I did, just very abusive home, from abusive home to abusive home, you are literally beat down, and you are told who you are and that your identity is not how you see yourself, it's how other people see you. So if you are taught to trust what society or what other people say about you, not what you think about yourself. Self-love is about taking that power away from the person who is keeping you down, who is telling you, no, you're not beautiful, you're ugly. No, you're not smart, you're dumb. No, you're not powerful, you're weak.
Yeah.
It's about taking away that power from those people, because they don't know you.
They have no clue.
They do not know you. You know you. And it's self-love is about taking away the power from them and giving it to yourself. And then once you have that power, you have no choice but to tell people about it and to teach people how to also do that. And that's what Kendrick is about.
Yes. Oh my God. Gives me fucking goosebumps as we talk about it. It's fucking crazy. He goes on, Kendrick continues to say in the third verse, he goes, "That's your heartbeat." He's saying, like, that's what you really want. You want this unity. You want this. You want this change.
You might not know you want it, but you want it.
You do.
Yeah.
And he goes, it either caught me or it called me. Like,
no matter if it was by chance or what.
By hook or by crook.
Yeah. This is my purpose.
Yeah. Whether it was because his dad took him to the Compton swap meet and you know,
or
he
he was predestined to do it.
This.
Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. And it's never going to change. He is here for you. Kendrick is here to help lift up the people.
Yes.
And he does it. You can see it through his actions.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's a philanthropist. It's unbelievable what he's been able to do. You know, and he really is one of those guys who lives by a certain code. He's not on Instagram. You know, he's not really on Twitter anymore. You know, sure, he has an Instagram account, but I think it has like 1 or 2 posts. The other thing about him as well is that when he talks about these problems, he's also back in the hood marching for Black Lives Matter when George Floyd was killed. You know, you see it in Kendrick Lamar and in J. Cole and in these, you know, other athletes and artists who are marching in these movements. Like, they're actually backing up what they're saying on record with their actions in the streets.
And how sad to see some of these rappers kissing ass to Donald Trump because it's going to get them a pardon.
Oh, it's going to, Lil Wayne taking away his fucking gun charge, all that shit.
Or it's going to get them some sort of financial gain because, like, I actually had somebody ask me, and I'm not going to speak for, you know, political shit, you know, whatever, but I'm not going to speak for, like, I don't know for sure what would motivate a person of color or anybody who is marginalized, even to the extent of being just poor. Yeah. You know, because we're poor white people.
Yeah.
So we're
unemployed.
We're definitely not benefiting from a Trump administration.
No.
So
absolutely not.
When I've had friends ask me like, well, you know, if he's so terrible, why are there black people supporting him? I don't really know, but I will say if you are wealthy, then it makes all the sense.
Donald Trump speaks to you.
It makes complete sense.
That's why 50 Cent came out and backed him. Lil Wayne has come out and backed him.
If you're wealthy and your main goal in life is money, if your purpose in life is wealth, then
absolutely
100% Donald Trump makes sense to you because that is all Donald Trump is about. Well, he's not about wealth. He's about ego, but he has pandered to his finance
background.
His
financial background.
His how do they call it? Financiers.
Financier. I don't know.
I don't know.
Where are you going with this?
With his backers, the people who back
his
him,
financial supporters.
The corporations, and you know, he wants their admiration. He wants their support. He wants their love, and so. How does he do that? He panders to them, the wealthiest of the wealthy, because that's all Donald Trump has ever wanted was to be in that little club.
Yeah, that little class of people.
Yeah. So going off on a tangent, but sorry, go ahead.
So Kendrick continues to say in this third verse, breathe slow and you'll find gold mines in these lines. Like, take a beat and you'll see what I'm saying. Like, actually, like, wait a second, listen to what I'm saying, breathe with it. And then come back, and if you just read slow, you're gonna find these gold mines, these nuggets.
Like, don't just consume it. Take it in.
Take it in.
Don't just listen to it and dance to it. Actually,
genuinely
look at what I'm saying. Catch these metaphors. He's literally trying to spell it out for you without actually saying it, so that he can also achieve his goal of getting that radio play.
Yes. Sincerely yours truly, like, genuinely, I belong to you. Like, I belong to this.
I am yours.
I am yours. Like, not just as a listener, but like to hip hop.
Yeah.
You know,
I belong to you, to the movement.
To the movement, to the black community. I belong to you, not Drake.
Not Drake.
Sincerely yours truly, and right before you go blind, and right before you lose yourself and lose perception of where we started, he hits you with that PS.
Pac Shakur.
Of Pac
reminding
Shakur.
You where the movement started.
Yes, of where this all really truly began, not only
especially
for him.
Especially for anyone who's in California, right?
Yes.
The West Coast oppression versus
like
East Coast oppression.
Yeah.
It's still oppression, but he's speaking specifically to, you know, California in general, I think.
So
now I want to say this part, because this part to me was one of the biggest disses in the whole song. Is the very
outro.
The
outro is really good too. Yeah,
because at the very end, after having Drake of all people, from Canada on his song,
Dissing himself.
Dissing himself. The
Getting
outro.
him to say, I don't write my own shit.
Yeah.
And then Drake not even having the wherewithal that Kendrick is pimping him.
Yeah.
It's
he
the
has
greatest
no clue.
trick of all time.
But at the very end of the song, the outro, and if you know this album, every song has an outro. It's like a little scene that's going on.
Yeah, a little scene that's going on, yeah.
So he essentially dismisses Drake by saying, you know, I'm going to ask you one more time, homie. Where is you from? Or it is a problem. I don't care who Drake over here for.
Okay, so Drake again is
the
Dez's
N-word.
way of avoiding the N-word. Okay, go ahead.
And not that I'm calling him the N-word, but
No, this is the song.
but I'm just replacing that because that's who we're talking about here.
Yeah.
If he don't tell me where he's from, it's a rap. He says, you're going to tell me where you're from, okay? Where your grandma stay, or where your mama stay, or your daddy stay, okay?
Yeah.
Fuck with all this talking. As a matter of fact, get out of the van, homie. He's saying, where are you from? Oh, wait, you're from Canada?
You're not from here.
You're not from here. Get the fuck out.
Get the fuck
That's
out
how
of this.
he ends the song,
yeah.
is by telling Drake to get the fuck off of his song.
Get the fuck
out
off
of
my
here.
song, get the fuck out of here, and get the fuck out of the hood, and get the fuck out of rap.
Get the fuck out of rap. And that's
because this is my shit.
Is like the most beautiful part of the song is the very end where he goes, wait a minute. Where are you from?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Canada. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate you playing my game for me.
Yeah. Thank you for your contribution. You may leave.
Yes. And
you were dismissed.
And I think too we should also include that not only was Kendrick Lamar so tactful in this song, however, he leads up to Poetic Justice on the album with the song Money Trees. And if you know anything about the song Money Trees, he's basically about, you know, rapping about like, you know, life in the hood. Like, you know, this song is like hot sauce all in our top ramen, you bish. Like he's saying like I had to use hot sauce to spice up my ramen noodles. That's how fucking poor we were. You know, park the car and we start rhyming, you bish. You know, the only thing we had to free our minds, like the only thing Kendrick and his group of friends and TDE and all these guys, the only thing they had to take their mind off of Compton and the shit going on there and to take their mind out of the hood, to take their mind away from all this fucking bullshit was rapping and rhyming. He continues to say, you're looking like an easy come up, ya bish. A silver spoon I know you come from, ya bish.
He's talking about Drake.
He's talking about Drake growing up on the silver spoon, you know, and like silver spooners, like you're fed. You're not like me.
Yeah.
You grew up in Toronto.
You didn't grow up hungry. You grew up fed.
You grew up fed. And he goes, and that's a lifestyle that we never knew. And go at a reverend for the revenue. Like we're saying like, I'll rob, hustle, and steal anything from anyone to get money because this is the way that I had to grow up. Like you didn't have to grow up like this with me. Or like I did.
Yeah.
And I love this other line too. And it's in the hook of the song. He goes, and I've been hustling all day, this away, that away, through canals and alleyways just to say that Money Trees is the perfect place for shade. And that's just how I feel.
And where's Money Trees at?
In the right before Poetic Justice.
Right before Poetic Justice.
In the sequencing of the song, of the albums, you know, the sequencing
it goes
of the
Money
song,
Tree,
Poetic Justice.
Poetic Justice.
And then it goes into two other songs, Good Kid, Mad City.
Yeah. It's beautiful. It is the most beautiful thing I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
As far like I have so much appreciation for Kendrick. Like I'm literally going back through, I'm listening to every single one of his songs because
now everything
means something. It matters.
Moment, like from that moment on matters because sure, Section 80, like for a hip hop head like me, that's a great album. Like it's a meaningful album. But it wasn't.
But this might from the naked eye look like the point where he sold out to be big in the game.
To be big in the game, but
it's not.
But it's not. And I think that's where this leads into my other part of this theory, which is how Kendrick does this amazing album, you know, in October of 2012, it all drops, you know, Poetic Justice is number 6 in the country. It's played on top 40 stations. Like it's a big radio play. Like being in the radio industry, like that's a crossover hit. That's what you call a crossover hit. Sure, it's two guys in hip hop, but it also can be played and heard as a pop song. So that way you, white America, or like white moms in their fucking minivans
can bop along
with it. And you'll like it like, oh, Poetic Justice. Like it's a good hook. Yeah. It's a good melody. I like it. It's all fluffs and fairy dust. But you don't even understand what this man is saying in it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the messaging isn't for white America. It's just to get white America, you know, it's to get them to work for Kendrick as opposed to Kendrick working for them. Yes.
So I think right here is a good place to end for part 1. In part 2, we're going to continue with this conversation. We're going to pick up with the BET Cypher of 2013, Kendrick Lamar dropping Control, and To Pimp a Butterfly, and how all of that plays into this one moment in Kendrick's career.
This has been Anthony Does a Podcast. Yeah.